Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Eric Pessolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
Oh, Eric, it is Valentine's Day. Love is in the air. And so I thought, what a great way than to, completely disrupt a 2 or 3 week sabbatical that we took and fight with someone here on the day of love. Let's do it. And we are doing it in a way we've never really done before. This is going to be completely different. I'm excited about it. Happy Valentine's Day, buddy.
Hey, you too, pal. And we're going to totally leave out the fact that we found out we were posting this episode on Valentine's Day, and that's why we included it in here, because we really had no idea. Which means we're both probably in trouble come next Wednesday. Our significant others are something great's coming your way, both of you.
It's an episode,
I'm sure.
Anyway.
But no, I'm very excited about today's topic. This is the most wild card thing we've ever done. I've said this in the past, which was true at the time, but now we've upped the ante a little bit, and this is going to be a wide open draft. And I don't think any of our picks are going to affect the other one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's be honest. Everybody knows the title already because they click play. Hidden Gems of the Disneyland Resort. I remember thinking, oh, that was us revealing it in the intros, and then I was like, no, they had to click onto the episode, so they know it already. Right. But Hidden Gems of the Disneyland Resort. We could go a number of different ways with this, like you said, and gosh, I'm thinking like, oh, a food item might be a hidden gem on that menu, and whether Melissa, who's going to be our guest judge, thinks that's a hidden gem or not, that's what I'm worried about.
There's veto power today, and that's going to throw in a huge wrinkle. If we make it through all 10 picks without getting vetoed, I'd be stunned.
Yes.
Because you just never know. Somebody's, that's not really hidden. And when we think it is, because maybe we don't visit it as often. So, I mean, that's up in the air here for 5 rounds.
And Eric, today we've got a pretty exciting special guest. This is Melissa Hamblin from, we met her on Instagram. If you check out her Instagram, it is Mix in Some Magic, but she's got a bunch of stuff going on. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I am so happy to be here.
Hey, we're glad to have you. Before we jump into this crazy draft of ours, and today is going to be a crazy draft, just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you fell in love with Disney at the beginning and how it's kind of turned into what you put on Instagram and everything else.
For sure. Well, I have Instagram where I post tons of tips and tricks and helpful information about visiting Disney parks. And I also have a podcast where I share more tips and tricks and helpful information. And also on my podcast, I like to do deep dives into different Disney lands or attractions or people, things like that. So I love that. I call them Once Upon a Time episodes. They're really fun. And then I have a website also there where I share tons of other information. So I went to Disneyland years and years ago when my kids were little, and my sister-in-law was in charge of the trip, and she was so good at doing everything. And I just followed her around, and I didn't have to think about one thing because she knew where everything was and how to hack every Disney ride and all the tips and tricks, all the inside stuff. And then when we went to go back to Disneyland a few years later with just our family, then it was up to me. And I had already experienced Disneyland with a professional, as I say. And so I just started learning as much as I could. And then I started sharing with family and friends, and then it just snowballed and turned into my full-time job.
That's one of my favorite stories because I resonate with that. Growing up, it was my parents who were booking all the Disney trips. Locally, not so much. We would go all the time. We're in California. So when we would go to Florida, it was them booking the trips and it was us learning everything. And then as we got older, me and my brother became the the travel experts, right? It shifted. Then everybody came to us for advice. So that's a cool story. I love that.
My favorite time was when I became a cast member and we were going to Disney World, because then I got to control everything, and it was my vacation that they got to go on.
That's so fun. But now my favorite is when someone else will be in charge. I'm so tired of being in charge of Disney vacations. If I can go with somebody who will take control and just I just have to follow them around. That's my favorite now.
Yeah, especially with all the rules and reservations and everything that has to be done. There was a time where it was a blast, and it still is a blast, but it's a different kind of blast now.
Yep,
Oh,
for sure.
the stress of a Disney vacation. Oh boy. So let's talk about Disneyland, shall we? Today, we're pretty excited when we were talking to Melissa and seeing what might be a great fit for her as a topic on this show. Erik, hidden gems stuck
Yeah.
out to us, and boy, hidden gems could be a food location. Hidden gems could be something that not everybody knows about around the corner and tucked away and whatever it might be, a seating area. Who knows? This is huge.
Yes, in more ways than one, because this is another draft where you and I could have completely different things. I don't know that there's going to be a ton of overlap, so I don't know that we're going to affect each other's drafts very much. So that'll be interesting. But the more important thing to me is this draft is open to interpretation. Melissa is our first guest judge ever that is going to be able to veto picks if she doesn't believe that it's that hidden of a gem. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I have a list of about 9 or 10 things that I want to pick. And if a few of those get vetoed, I'm in trouble. But I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay.
So here's my thing, and Melissa, you'll have to tell me if this is a terrible idea or not. I don't have a list at all. I'm going
Ooh.
straight off my head
Oh.
and straight off of things that I'm thinking, because when I think of hidden gems, honestly, the things I think about are the things that have all of a sudden become not hidden very much because of Instagram and because of all of our tip givers like you. And I don't know what qualifies as a hidden gem anymore, because it seems like everyone knows everything about everything everywhere. So this is going to be interesting, but I think I'm going to more play it. I don't know, kind of wild carding this, and we'll see. That hasn't really gone well for me in the past. But Melissa, what do you think of that strategy?
I think it's bold, very bold of
It's
you.
Oh, how many times have I been called bold on this podcast before I lost an episode? Oh, the can't count. Anyway, Erik, today we've got some important rules. Number one, of course, we have to have experienced it, which in this case, what the heck does that mean?
Right.
And then, of course, we have to put a hindrance on us in some way. And when everyone hears the word hidden at Disneyland, they think of everybody's favorite mouse. We cannot take any hidden Mickeys in this episode. That was your idea, and the hidden Mickeys are sometimes everybody's favorite hidden gem to hunt for.
Hey, we're not here to ruin the magic, pal. We're here to have everybody experience the magic.
That's fair.
Experience the magic. So I don't want to give away where hidden Mickeys are. That's no fun. But we want to help people see things that maybe they weren't able to see before, that they can't find in a guidebook that they sell on Main Street. So
Yep. That's fair. That's fair. All right, Melissa, what do you think of that rule, eliminating hidden Mickeys?
I think that's smart. So smart. Yeah, I love it.
Perfect. All right, Erik. Well, let's get into this. This is Drafting the Magic, episode 37. Holy smokes, we're running. It's only been 7 years since we started this, and now we're finally at 37. And we are doing hidden gems of the Disneyland Resort. Erik Pesolano, you have the first pick. Melissa is our guest judge. Let's start it up.
now I told you I have a list of about 9 or 10 things here. I don't think it matters where I go with number one, because I'm not sure you're going to take it, especially now that you told me you don't even have a list. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
The first pick that I'm going to take here, it's something that is very easily overlooked. I think people know about it, but I think there's plenty of people who have no idea about it, which is why I think it's a hidden gem. It's right smack dab in the center of the park. At least that's how the lore goes. Although that's not exactly true, but that's how the lore goes. And I spent a good time of my Disney career in Fantasyland, so I'm going to take the Golden Spike inside of Sleeping Beauty Castle at number one. And reading up on it a little bit, everybody thinks of it as the geographical center of Disneyland, which is what it was intended, but that's actually not true. Really, it was a surveyor's mark to make sure it was even with Main Street and everything lined up properly. So that's why it's there. But you can step right over it and never see it. So that's one of those stop and smell the roses places for me. I'm taking that Golden Spike at number one.
That's not a bad pick. I honestly, when I was thinking about this, I didn't think of something like that. But you're right. Everybody looks at that, and of course, everybody tells the person next to them, "Oh, that's the center of Disneyland." And it's like, I mean,
Both.
kinda. Melissa, what do you think of the Golden Spike at the back of Sleeping Beauty Castle.
I love the golden spike. I do wish that it was the center of Disneyland, though. I think that would make it even better.
Yeah.
I think we should just tell people that and just like stick to it. Just say that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
Christian,
more fun.
use that edit button, Christian. Let's rewind a little bit.
No. I think we're gonna leave that in. I think.
All right.
But you're right. I wish, and Melissa, you said it best. I wish it was the center of Disneyland. I wish it had that. But then, I mean, gosh, you'd have to equally distribute New Park out that entire time,
Right.
and Harbor Boulevard and Disneyland Drive, or although apparently they might find their way over or under Disneyland Drive in the future. We'll see. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that with Harbor Boulevard and knock down the Howard Johnson or anything over there. But that's a pretty good pick for number one. Interesting, Eric. Interesting. Okay, I'm going with something that is hidden for guests, unless you know exactly where it is. It didn't used to be hidden because it was a sign in a parking lot. But then the Eeyore sign, which is hiding in the Indiana Jones adventure queue, I think that's a pretty cool hidden gem. And Melissa, this is one that gets to okay, people have started to see this because it's online and it's become, so I don't know if the word hidden really works here, but to me, there is a cool thing, especially if you get stopped and you got a cool cast member that's willing to flash the flashlight up there and let you see it. It's pretty tough to find if you don't have that, but I think it's a cool nod to the old park. I love how they hide things through the parks that had history. I mean, gosh, I worked at Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, so I know all about hiding things around there. But Indiana Jones in the queue in there's a couple of things, maybe even something else that gets taken on this list at some point. But the Eeyore sign, I love that sign.
I love it too. I think that's a great one. And it's totally a hidden gem because if you didn't know it was there, if somebody hadn't pointed it out to you, you would never, ever be able to see it, ever. And I for sure encourage people, if you haven't seen it, ask that cast member there in that room. It's in the room where they're doing the safety spiel kind of with the video. If they have a flashlight, 9 times out of 10, they will shine it for you on the Eeyore sign so you can see it.
Right after you learn about your ingenious pouches, you can find the Eeyore sign. Eric, what do you think of that pick?
I'm convinced that's what they have flashlights for. I don't even think they're for safety anymore. It's for, hey, look at it up there. You know? No, I like it, and I think this falls right in line with the topic that we're talking about: things that are hidden, things that aren't easily seen, or sometimes things that are right in front of your face that you never see. Which is a couple of things that I have on my list here. But I like your first pick. Good line of thought there, Hilton.
Good. I'm glad I at least in the running at the beginning of this, and we'll see how many things I think about for the rest of the draft. But we're already into draft round number 2.
Yeah, and this one I think has gained a little bit more steam over the recent years. But again, when we talk about history of the park and things that people don't normally see, I think social media has given a new light to this particular spot. Let's head on over to Adventureland. And I love the Little Man of Disneyland little scene inside the side of the tree over by the new Adventureland tree house, as it is now known. Look, something that comes out of a Disney Little Golden Book that I grew up with, even though they were written long before I was a thing. This particular book was actually published in 1955, and they still got that little scene in there. So I like the Little Man of Disneyland and Adventureland, and I'm taking that at number 2.
I'll let Melissa give her thoughts on this before I do.
I love it. The Little Man of Disneyland is one of my favorite things to show people. I was just at Disneyland last week with my nieces and nephews, and every time I point it out to people, then there are people that are sitting around the Little Man of Disneyland's little house that's there on the tree right below the Indiana Jones sign, and they are so confused. They'll ask me, "What are you guys looking at? What do you see?" And then I point it out to them, and they have never seen it before. And I love that it's tied back to that book. It just makes so much sense. And my favorite thing is that they decorate his little house for Christmas time. He gets a little wreath. So cute.
Yes, I will say this used to be one of my favorite little things at Disneyland, and now I'm so sick of it because of Drafting the Magic and being on all these Disney fan blogs and stuff like that. Somebody's like, "Oh, I finally found it! Look, I found something you've never seen," and I'm like, "No, this has become a more of a in the know, or more of a not in the know thing, I guess. But apparently, some people still learning about it. It's definitely like, I don't know, from an outsider's perspective, it's weird. It's like, what? Why is this a thing? But it's a thing, and they've preserved it. Like you said, they decorate it, and so Disney leans into this, and I love it when they do that. And it's 100% for the fanfare. They don't have to do that. They could
Mhm.
chop that thing off because it looks like a mushroom. Like they could, they could really just discard it, but they don't because they know there are people that are on podcasts that are talking about hidden gems, and they need that feed. So there it is, right, Eric?
I anything in the park that people can stop and say, what is that? Like if you have your own little group of family of four and you've never been to the park before and you see that, are you going to stop and ask somebody, or are you going to get on your phone and Google it? Probably going to Google it. But the fact that it makes you do that because you're so, oh, what is that? I want to learn more about it. What is it? Those are the things that I'm looking for today. So, and that certainly stands out.
And how long has it been there? Do you guys know?
Oh
I
gosh,
don't
Eric,
remember.
come on,
I
tell me
don't.
what
I
your
don't
research
remember
said.
when it was installed. I just know the lore behind it. But hey, that's why we have
The interweb.
the intranet, as I like to call it.
Something
I wonder if
tells me.
Disneyland even knows when they put it in, because there's sometimes where things appear and they really have no idea. But I'll look it up, and we'll keep trucking along here. But
There
I'll
you
look
go.
up the date.
There you go. All right. Well, for my second round pick, I'm going to go over to Disney California Adventure because I love Disney California Adventure. It was my home for so many years. And this one is one that I really don't think people know about, but it is so great to the theming of the Hollywoodland area. How long it's there for? Who knows? It probably won't be there for long if they do anything on that side. But I'm going to go to one of my favorite spots to grab a bite to eat in Hollywoodland, and I'm going to go to Award Wieners, where you can get the best, what is it, hot dog and a supporting roll, or the best bun and a supporting roll, or something like that, whatever it is. But my favorite part about Award Wieners, and this was something that I will be honest, I got to learn because I was on the red car trolleys and we were trying to give people details. If you look inside the windows of the Award Wieners location, there are autographed pictures of celebrities, just like you would have in a Hollywood diner or something like that. And I think that's amazing. Now, the celebrities, you have to think back to 2001. Cuba Gooding Jr. was huge at the time. The dad from Lizzie McGuire has his signed picture up there. But it's that kind of theming that I don't think people get to see often. I don't think people know it's there. But that is, I mean, when I was working in Hollywoodland, I said, why don't we have stars on the ground? Why don't we have a Hollywood Boulevard that kind of looks like Hollywood Boulevard? And I get that it's okay, maybe it's set in the 1920s, and maybe I don't know when the Hollywood Walk of Fame started, so I couldn't even tell you when that started. But I love the fact that there's autographed things in there because it takes me to go into Pink's out in Los Angeles, out in that Hollywood area, seeing all the autographs on the walls. I think that's a pretty cool hidden gem that I think is probably my most hidden of gems because no one takes the time to look inside the windows there. Eric, did you even know that was a thing?
No, Guy, I'm a hot dog connoisseur. I'm worried about the food. I've never once in my life looked at anything around other than the hot dog that's right
fair.
being
That's
shoved
fair.
in my mouth hole. I'm just letting you. I'm just saying.
Okay, I won't argue with that at all. Melissa, what do you think of award wieners coming out on this list?
Okay, I am surprised because I had never seen or heard of that hidden gem.
Yes.
Because I'm opposite though. I stay away from award wieners just because there's so many other things to eat. Do I really want to eat a hot dog at DCA? No. No.
I mean,
I'll go to Costco for a hot dog. So I always skip award wieners. I know they have other things and they're good sometimes, but now I have to go. I have to go look in the windows. I got to check it out.
I was gonna say I don't know if this is a good thing for me
Yeah.
because she didn't know about it, or if it's a bad thing because she would rather spend $1.50 and get a soda on the side.
Well, listen though, if you hadn't thrown in the pictures with the autographs, then I was gonna have to veto it because
Sure.
award wieners,
award
that's
wieners
not
is
a
not
hidden gem.
hidden. It's right in
Oh.
front of everyone. But
I single-handedly keep that place in business. So yeah, that's why I was getting ready to veto it myself if Melissa didn't. So I'm glad you expanded upon your selection.
you were like, what in the world is happening here?
Everybody knows what that is. All right, we go to round 3 now. Oh, by the way, the Little Man of Disneyland, no one's really sure when it was first installed, but it was not where it is now. It used to be closer to the Jungle Cruise docks.
Oh.
And then it got lost due to renovations. The current one that we see today was installed in 2015, if you can believe it. That was almost a decade ago now. Oh,
Stop.
oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. Move on, please. Good.
My third pick here is a seasonal selection, but it is something that is actually in the park all year round. And it is something that's pretty big, and you walk by it probably every time you go in the park, and maybe you didn't realize it. I don't know. There's a lot of people who know about this, but there may be a lot who don't. And the best time to stop and take a look at it is during Halloween time. And that's the Halloween tree in Frontierland, right before the Golden Horseshoe. It's right in front of the store there on the left-hand side if you're walking into Frontierland. And that tree, which gets decorated for Halloween, which is what it's known for, based on a Ray Bradbury book in 2007 that he wrote. Of course, Ray Bradbury from Fahrenheit 451 fame. But this tree literally illuminates Frontierland all by itself during Halloween. At least it used to, before the Rancho del Zocalo area decided to embrace the culture over there and go with a lot more bright lights than what used to be at Frontierland. But I love the Halloween tree. It really does stand out because nothing is decorated like it around the area. And you could just walk by and be like, oh, cool, look at that tree, but not really know the history behind it. So I'll take the Halloween tree at number 3.
There you go. I didn't think a tree would be on this list, but there you go. Melissa, what do you think?
The Halloween tree is a good one. I like it. They put the little pumpkins in the tree, and it is very hidden because you wouldn't know unless you stopped. There is a little plaque, though, that explains it, which is nice, which I appreciate, because if somebody is interested in what it's all about, then it has some more information. So it's a good one.
There you go. All right. Well, in my what I was like, you're shaking your head. I don't know what you're saying, but you're saying
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna go, and I don't know where this one's gonna fall on a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm gonna take it anyway because it's become one of my favorite things to point out to people, and I just recently found out about it. But it is in the Fantasyland not Frontierland, nope, Fantasyland / Tomorrowland area edge thing, and it's at the base of the monorail tracks. There is a wooden board. And we said we couldn't take hidden Mickeys. We did not say we couldn't take hidden Disney characters. There is a random carving of Nemo that, like, it's far enough away from the subs that it doesn't make sense that it's there, because you're almost like up against that Autopia area where the monorail crosses between the Matterhorn. And I genuinely don't know why it's there. I don't know why they put it there, but I love it, and I think it's such a cute little hidden gem. So I'm taking Nemo here in round 3, Eric.
You're right. You follow the rules. I appreciate you for that. It almost feels like this is one of those things that they put in there for like the construction when they were building, like retheming the subs.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you know what, just leave it there. That's kind of cool. Somebody will walk by and see it. Melissa, what are your thoughts on that?
I just recently saw this little hidden Nemo, and I think it's cute. I don't feel like, I wish it was closer to the submarines. I don't know. It's random. When you do see it, then you're like, huh, what's that all about? And you don't know, and nobody knows, which is, I guess, kind of fun. We should make up a story about why it's there and just spread it around.
Well, here's my
we're
thing.
We're having a meeting after this.
Oh, let's do it. I thought literally the first time I saw it, I was like, so was there a challenge where we had to find Nemo? And like, is that what this was? Because it is not next to the subs. It is so far away from the subs that I don't know why it's there. But I think it's a cool little, thing to point out to people if you're walking by. And it's weird. It's weird, but I like it. And I love Nemo. Give me Nemo all day.
I like to think of those things as something that, like I said, when they put it up during construction, and every day a cast member would walk by and be like, oh yeah, we got to take that down. Oh yeah, we got to take that down. And then after, a decade or so, they're like, oh yeah, we got to take that down. And so nobody ever touched it.
Next on the
I
list.
love it.
Don't worry. Next on the list.
Yeah. We'll get to it.
All right. Trailblazing here into round 4, Eric.
All right.
Right,
This
round
one's
4?
Yeah, we're in round 4. Yeah, we're moving along here. This one's for the little ones. I don't have any myself. Christian, I know you do. And again, I'm going back to Fantasyland. And I think this is one of the coolest things that I will say we, even though I'm not part of that team anymore, but so this is one of the coolest things we did. And the look on kids' faces when they were able to partake was a lot of fun. But being an official whale watcher on the Storybook Land canal boats, letting the children that are small enough sit literally on the, okay, look, I'm not a maritime expert whatsoever, so I don't know if it's the bow of the boat. It's the front. It's the front of the boat. You can sit up on the ledge with your legs crisscross looking out, and they call it an official whale watcher. And at the end, they get a sticker that they can take with them saying that they're an official whale watcher. So I didn't see very many kids take advantage of that during my time in Fantasyland because nobody really knew about it. There were a couple here and there who knew, but I think that's a hidden gem and something that they do for the little ones that stands out to me. So I'm taking that at number 4.
That is like hidden gem. I like that. Melissa, what do you think?
I love that one because if a cast member doesn't invite you to go sit up there, I mean your children, you wouldn't even know about it unless you ask them. So I love that one a lot. That's very fun. I remember being terrified to go on that ride when I was little because you go in the whale's mouth and you don't see where you come out. So it took me years to build up the courage to go on that because I didn't want to get eaten by a whale.
And I didn't want to spiel to people the whole story that I had to memorize either. So I get it, even as an adult.
Well, at the end though, every single time I ride on it now, I always am sure we're going to tip over because the cast member, they pull you to the side and then they tell everybody, they're like, okay, at the same time, we're all going to stand up. And you look at the people with you and you're like, we are not going to be able to pull this off. We're not standing up at the same time. And the boat always rocks. We've never gone over, but I always get scared.
Oh.
One time I'll have to tell you the story about how I almost tipped the boat over in the middle of the flume, the middle of the track. But we'll save that for a different time.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's bad for you. Yeah, I remember the tale of Jonah. I don't love riding into the whale at all. I'll say that. But also I have to give a shout out to our episode 7 guest judge, who was also so happens to now be my wife, who is in the other room. She corrected me on the award wieners thing. It's best wiener in a supporting role. That was so anyway, I saw it corrected and I was like, no, that needs to be corrected.
If we're nothing, it's accurate. It's
tell accurate,
you that right now.
It's accurate, and boy, am I honest when I've screwed up. So anyway, my 4th pick, I'm going to go back over to Disney California Adventure. And I am going to take what is probably, now that I think, I told you I did not have a list. I am trying to think things up on my head, and this is my favorite thing I can think about right now. World of Color is probably my favorite nighttime spectacular, and Eric can use that to his advantage in the future when we do a nighttime spectacular show.
I already knew that though, but I already knew
I
that.
know it's not a secret. I think what World of Color does is absolutely amazing. But my favorite part about World of Color, regardless of any show that they do, whether it was the original, now that it's, they do the holiday ones and the World of Color 1 or whatever, then like once the show's over and you hear the gal like, thank you for coming to Disney California, that whole thing. But then the water starts pumping up again and the lights going in. The very last fountain that is on is an orange fountain that takes a bow. And the orange fountain that takes a bow is because Walt Disney's favorite color was orange. And I think that is my favorite thing. That is one of my favorite nods to Walt, is that Walt is the one that takes a bow at the end of that show. And I don't think you get to see that. I don't think anybody knows about it because A, they're already running over to try to see the fireworks in Disneyland because they're insane. They're trying to see 2 nighttime spectaculars in the same night that aren't in the same theme park. Yeah, we can do that here. Florida, you can't do that out there. Sorry, guys. I mean, I guess you could. Anyway, but I don't think people stick around for that part. I don't think people know what that means. But when we got to work World of Color as guest control and stuff like that, they told us these things. And Gosh, I think that is one of my favorite little nods to Walt that they do in the parks. And it's a hidden gem because not everybody knows that story. Eric, did you know that before right now?
No,
Ah, I'm
no,
I'm
I didn't.
helping my guest my host.
Now, DCA is the only location. If you think about Disneyland, DCA, Downtown Disney, and the hotels, DCA is the only place I have not been officially stationed at as a cast
Mm-hmm.
member. So I don't know as much about DCA as a whole as
Mm-hmm.
everything else. Um, but no, I love that story.
My
Well
my
done.
DC, my DCA picks are a new education for you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa, what do you think of Walt taking a bow at the end of World of Color?
All right, I have never heard of this before, so I am so
Gasp.
excited. I don't think I've ever stuck around long enough. I mean,
No one does. No one
yeah, I
does.
mean, the show's over. Why would you stand there?
And a
So,
lot of the times when we saw it happen as cast members, it was because we weren't really worried about people anymore because they'd all walked away already. And you know, they do that little, I guess it would be like a postlude of the show where, you know, it's just the same kind of music and the waters are colorful. That's one of my favorite times to go get a picture at World of Color is when they do that and all the different colors are going on. And I still call it liquid candy. I think it's the coolest looking thing, especially if you are in the splash zone, as some of us so graciously got to work many cold nights. But it is a cool spot. But yeah, that is probably one of my favorite things is Walt taking a bow at the end.
well, I am gonna have to go and check this out. I don't always stay for World of Color because I'm old now and I got to get to bed, especially if I'm in a rope drop. So I'm gonna stay though. I'm gonna stay and check it out. Now I'm excited.
Watch, now they've taken it out, and this is
You
completely
know,
irrelevant.
It's
I'll
not
be
there
there
anymore. Yeah.
freezing in the
I'm,
splash
I'm
zone.
gonna be honest, y'all.
Christian.
I haven't worked in that park in years. I don't know if they still do it, but that was absolutely one of my favorite things. So,
If you win this draft,
It-
and I post draft find out that that's not a thing anymore,
or if
there
they've
will be
taken,
a
or if they've taken down the pictures at Award Wieners.
yeah. I will file a formal protest to I don't know who, but well, I'll figure it out.
File it to the FCC. They'll I'm sure they'll put it to the top of their list.
All right, so I'm drawing the paperwork up as we speak. We'll see who I have to submit that to. Anyway, let's go to round 5. We talk about homages. I saved this one for last. It's one of my favorite look backs to a attraction that once was and is no longer. Um, I'm going over to Winnie the Pooh for the Country Bear Jamboree homage, where
Yes.
Max, Buff, and Melvin are still hanging out. When you look back over your shoulder, which I do every single time, there has not been a time I've been on Winnie the Pooh and did not look over my shoulder to see the 3 of them still hanging out. I think it may be more of a well-known hidden gem, but I still think hidden enough that I can qualify for this today. So I'm going with the Country Bear Jamboree homage and Winnie the Pooh at number 5 to round out my list. And notice I stayed all in Disneyland, by the way.
Yes, I noticed, and I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah.
I do love that. That is always something I do, you know, and especially if if I'm with somebody who doesn't know about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, look, and then they're like, oh, what's the Country Bear Jamboree? I'm like, get out of this little honey pot, thanks. But I mean, let's be honest. The only reason I know about it is because of Florida. I wasn't old enough to go on it or remember it. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm a baby sometimes when it comes to Disneyland stuff. Melissa, what do you think of the Country Bear Jamboree homage in Winnie the Pooh?
I love it. I'm so glad they kept it. I am old enough to remember when they had Country Bear Jamboree. Barely. I barely remember it.
Oh,
But
well done.
Right?
Barely,
Oh, yes.
barely.
She just earned a spot on a
I was
future
gonna
episode.
say she could be a regular here. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Yep.
And that just makes it special to me though. But I do feel bad for all these young people like you guys that don't understand the history. Just kidding. You guys understand the history, but my kids don't. So when I point it out to them, they're like, what? And I
Yeah.
explained to them, I'm like, remember in Disney World how we went on the Bear Country Jamboree or we saw the show? And they were like, eh. And they're not as thrilled or excited about it, which makes me sad.
I
Because
think
it is an awesome piece of history.
I missed the California one by 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Christian. Most of my knowledge is from Florida, which is now being redone itself. But
Are they taking away Country Bear Jamboree in Florida?
no,
They
no.
are,
They're redoing the actual show.
Oh.
So there's like new songs and
What?
maybe new
animatronics.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Oh.
Disney songs. They're gonna sing Disney songs instead of.
No.
Yup. We're not happy about it. But I will say, and this goes to something that Eric said multiple times on this podcast, the things that they are doing in the parks are not for us. They are for the next generation. And
Mhm.
you just said it, Melissa. Your kids don't know.
It's true.
Your kids
Yeah.
don't know. And they don't care. They don't care. Now, if I go into it, I will remember the history of this building. But my 1.5-year-old, who will probably be 3 or 4 by the next time we go to Disney World, is gonna know a Disney song. That's gonna
Mhm.
resonate with them more than it would if they're just singing, the little raunchy songs that they currently sing. So
Does it freak you out, Christian, that we're closer to that meme now, where it's like there used to be a ride here called Splash Mountain? They're like, okay, Grandpa, let's get you back. We're closer to
Seriously.
that now than we.
I remember when we tied up a rabbit and we're stuffing him into a beehive or whatever the heck that scene was. Yeah, boy, get off my lawn, get off my Disneyland right now, I'll tell you. But no, I think that's a great spot. And I think that, that even in the Winnie the Pooh ride in Florida, because they also destroyed a beloved attraction to make that. Both Winnie the Pooh rides have pretty cool nods to what used to be. And you've got Mr. Owl getting the deed from Mr. Toad in Florida. You've got I almost called them the three caballeros. Nope. We got you got the 3 heads on the wall after the mind trip that is the Heffalump scene. And oh boy, what a wild
I like how you said
scene.
Mr. Toad handing the deed to Mr. Owl like it
Yeah.
wasn't eminent domain, because that's exactly what happened there. There was no agreement.
Don't ask people from Florida either, because they will riot. Which I'm not saying they don't have a reason to. I'm just saying
Right.
they will. So I am going to go, and this I swear, like Melissa has not vetoed any picks yet, and
I feel so much better about myself. I'm hoping you screw this up.
Should
'cause
I
made it.
veto it just for fun? Whatever you
Oh
say,
my
just veto it.
So
gosh, that would be
you
hilarious.
could if you would like. This is
We'll see.
something that I would say any Disney diehard knows about. I think the casual person walking on Main Street does not know about the lamp up above the fire station in Walt's old apartment. And I think that is probably one. Boy, I didn't think I'd do 2 Walt homages here. I think that is a really cool thing. Of whenever Walt was in the park, he would turn on the light so that everybody knew that he was there. You need to be on your best. And when he passed away, cast members decided that needed to be on all the time because Walt's presence is here, and we need to be on our best at all times. I don't think your random family from Kentucky knows that story. I don't think that the people who only got to take one trip because they're here from I don't know, they're here from France, know that story. And so I will classify it as a hidden gem in my mind, but as the Disney lovers that we are, that's not very hidden at all. So it'll be Melissa's pick for there. But I'm going with the lamp in Walt's apartment as my number 5 pick. Eric, does this even come near a hidden gem in your mind?
First of all, for those of you who listen in Kentucky, that's christian.ilton@draftingthemagic.com. That's not a real email address, but if it was, that'd be funny. Second of all, this would be the closest borderline veto of any of the picks today. And I am in my head right now, bouncing back and forth on if I was the judge, why would I veto it and why wouldn't I veto it? And I still have not come to a decision. And I know you just made this pick 30 seconds ago. That's not a whole lot of time to decide. But this is as borderline of a veto as there is.
I know. And that's why I was like, I was thinking about it. And I haven't had a list going. I've been thinking about this since like pick 2. I was like, okay, can I throw this in there? I'm like, no. Maybe not everybody knows about award wieners. Maybe none of the other 2 people on this show know about award wieners, apparently. But, like, everybody knows this if you're a Disney person.
15 years ago, I'm not vetoing this.
Yeah.
Now, I still haven't decided.
Well, this has been a fun conversation with you, but as always,
It doesn't matter what we
I don't.
say.
It doesn't matter what Erik thinks. It matters what Melissa thinks. So, Melissa, is this vote vetoed, or how would you qualify this? I had to make this as tough as possible here in round 5.
I don't know. It is tough. As soon as you said the lamp in Walt's apartment, I was like, wah, wah. We all know that. But I mean, you have good points though, as you go on explaining it. A lot of people don't know about it. And I do like to share hidden gems on my Instagram. And whenever I do, then I get so many people saying, oh my goodness, I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. And there's always one person that's like, old news. I've seen this. And I always say, just because you've seen something and know about something doesn't mean that everybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you're right. And especially, I mean, talking about all those new generations that are coming to Disneyland, they might not know about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to veto somebody, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh,
I don't know. No, you're not vetoed.
I was like, oh my gosh, is there still a chance? She said, I don't think, as if she's still mulling over it.
I'm going to give it. I'm going to let you have it.
Yes, nothing was vetoed today. God bless us.
First of all, I'm proud of us for getting through all 10 picks without a veto.
So am I. The only thing that I thought about, and I was like, oh, that's totally going to get vetoed, was as we now think about it. And Melissa, we're going to ask you if you think there's anything on this list that, or anything on your list in your head that should have been here that we didn't talk about. One of the things that I think is hidden, but now the draft is over, so don't worry about it. Nothing can go through it. I think the Troubadour Tavern is absolutely hidden back up there by that the theater that recently hosted the Circle of Life show, which I think should have been a permanent thing. I loved that show.
I'm going to interject here and tell you that I had it on my list and removed it.
Right? Like
because the food, I went for more specifics, and the food items I used to get there are no longer served. Once I checked the menu 2 days ago to make sure it was still there, and it's not, I actually removed it from my list.
Like that's a great spot. But
yeah,
I do think it is kind of hidden back there. And I remember seeing somebody posted something about a baked potato or some new thing, and I was like, I was just looking, and it didn't have the Troubadour Tavern. It just had like the frame of the window. I was like, where the heck is this? Like, where in the park is this? And then I figured it out. But, so that was only my thought. Melissa, what is not on our lists that you think should have been there?
My very favorite thing nobody said.
Gasp.
I mean, well, and nobody even went over to Toontown, which surprised me because there are so many hidden gems. I mean, Toontown is just a hidden gem. A lot of people don't even go there. Not so much anymore with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but over in Toontown, there is, I mean, they have all these little interactive features, and they have doorknobs you can turn and chests you can open and fun things for kids. But there is a doorknob on the Glass Factory that looks just like the doorknob from Alice in Wonderland. And, with that part where she's trying to turn the doorknob and she has the food, the eat me, drink me. Looks just like that. You can turn the knob, it changes its eyes, the eyes spin around, and it is so cute and such a fun nod to Alice in Wonderland. And I love it. That's my very favorite hidden gem.
See, this is why Melissa's on this show, because I just learned something, and I can't wait to go back to Toontown and see this. So I did not know that.
Yeah,
now, as you well know, Christian, I used to work in Toontown, so I'm very aware of this thing. Yeah. And Melissa, thank you for calling that out, because every time we have an episode where I don't pick something from Toontown, my old team yells at me. So I can't wait to be yelled at after this eventually gets released.
Oh, I love it.
No, that is, you bring up a good point, though. That is a good spot.
And all of Toontown. I mean, Mickey's house.
Yeah.
People miss Mickey's house and Minnie's house. It's just so great. Love Toontown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you said, not everybody went to it until Mickey and Minnie's opened up. And if anybody's previously listened to this show, once they finally retheme Roger Rabbit into a Goofy movie ride, I think everyone will go back there, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But gosh, in my dreams it will. So anyway, all right, Erik, that's our draft. How about you run down the list, remind everybody at home what we picked, and then it will be up to Melissa to decide who won this whole thing.
All right, here we go. I had the first pick. I took the Golden Spike at Sleeping Beauty Castle at number 1, the Little Man of Disneyland at number 2, the Halloween Tree at number 3, the Official Whale Watcher from Storybook Land Canal Boats at number 4, and the Country Bear Jamboree homage inside of Winnie the Pooh. Christian took the Eeyore parking sign at Indiana Jones queue at number 1, the Award Wieners autograph photos at number 2, the Nemo carving on the monorail base that's not near the subs at number 3. The World of Color orange fountain bow in homage to Walt at the end at number 4. And your last pick, another homage to Walt, the lamp inside of his apartment at the fire station. And I turn it over to Melissa. Which of these lists has won today's episode of Drafting the Magic?
It was tough. It was very tough, but I'm going to go with Christian because he had some things that I hadn't seen or heard of, and I love that. Those are hidden gems. So Christian, you're the winner.
So let's schedule this for next week. We come back, and after you found out that neither of these things exist anymore.
I know. I'm going to check. I'll be there in a couple weeks. You better believe I'm checking.
You can turn those things around.
We need to do a special episode just to verify.
Yeah.
We'll do like a little side conquest and bring you back on. We won't even do a full episode. We'll just have you on for like 10 minutes and verify if these exist.
Yes.
A report, a sideline reporter from
for.
Disneyland.
So
exactly.
my question is, once this happens, do both of those things need not to exist anymore, or just one of them for him to be disqualified?
I don't know.
Or do I be a nice guy and say he's allowed to replace it, and then you rejudge?
Ooh, I don't even like that.
I think you're just automatically disqualified.
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
That's an automatic DQ.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, disqualified.
Even I think that's an automatic DQ.
Yeah.
You know, I always want to put the options out there. I'm not always a hard and fast. Who am I kidding? Yes, I am.
Yes,
I'm a hard and fast rules guy. I was trying to be nice.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for being nice, and thanks for apparently taking a win from me in the future. If neither of these things are here, which I don't even blame for. So
this is our first ever cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And
it's exciting.
And the way we schedule things, who knows when we're going to have the answer? Oh my goodness. Well, Melissa. Erik and I were both going into closing.
Right in stereo.
Melissa, you have been a fantastic guest judge, not just because you gave me the W, although I, of course, do appreciate that, but because you gave us our first cliffhanger. That is unparalleled territory. This is uncharted waters for us. So I actually kind of like that. But Melissa, tell us everything about where we need to find you, whether it be your website, the name of the podcast, the Instagram again. Give us everything. Give everybody a chance to know where they can find you and where they can get all these cool tips from you.
Yep, of course. Thanks for having me, guys. I am mixing some magic everywhere. So mixinsomagic.com. Mixin' Some Magic is the name of my podcast, and Mixin' Some Magic on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, all of it.
That is so easy when it's just the same branding. Place everywhere.
Streamline that branding. The only issue we had was on what is now called X, formerly known as Twitter. Drafting the Magic was too many characters, so we had to shorten it.
Oh,
but aside from that,
I'm not even on Twitter. That just would seem like too much.
I was going to say, I'm for sure Mixin' Some Magic does not fit in that, if Drafting the Magic didn't. So
it's pretty close.
Yeah. Anyway, Melissa, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to do this with us. And we hope you come back again, even if it is just as that the follow-up. Gosh, I hope those things are still there.
I am so excited for this.
Hey, I'm going to check. I'll be there a couple weeks. I'm excited. Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
I'm going to call my entertainment friends and have them shut it off the night you go. So just let me know.
Oh, no. World of Color didn't go off tonight.
Oh, whoops. Thank you, Melissa. Great to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you guys. Thanks.
All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to be upset about today, because this was such a wild card, and also because we don't know if this is official yet. So I'm in a weird state of being. I don't know how to feel. I don't know. I'm not upset, even if the results stand, because she brought up a good point. I didn't know about a couple of those things either, and you brought them up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the point here. It's the one episode where if the judge hadn't experienced it, it works in your favor.
Yeah, I'll take it. At this point, I'll take anything for a win. So, but I thought Melissa was great. She's got a lot of insight. And anybody who hasn't heard her podcast or seen any of her stuff on Instagram, go find it, or on the website, go find it. She's got a lot of content to give you. Some of my favorite things that she posts Well, one of the most recent things she posted as of recording this was, "What's your favorite childhood memory? Not paying for Disney vacations." And boy, was that so it's still evident. It's still
That's a-
evident in my life. I miss
That
that.
strikes a chord, doesn't it? Yeah. When you
So
realize that, oh, I used to do this for free.
seriously, man. I also used to live for free. Anyway, that's not important. But thank you so much for watching or for listening to the episode. Stay tuned for the answers to all of these questions and more. Whenever Melissa gets out to the Disneyland Resort, she told us she'll reach out to us and let us know. You better believe I'm nervous.
And we will have a follow-up for Judgment too. We're going to bring her back. We're going to do a little side episode, so make sure you look out for that coming whenever we get a chance to record it. And don't forget to follow us on all the social medias that you can find us over on X at Drafting Magic, and then over on Instagram and Facebook at Drafting the Magic.
Rate and review. If it's not 5 stars, what is it? Like, honestly, come on.
Like, we don't need, like, give me a 1. I don't care. It's better than a 0.
No, do not give me a 1. Don't do
is
it.
that not how
give
that
me
works?
A 5. That is not how it works.
We don't
that
just
is
collect
not
stars.
how it works.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that. Eric,
When
what are you, nuts? Oh my gosh.
There's 2 ways it can go. We can be rated so great, everyone's like, oh my God, I got to listen to this. Or so bad that people are going to be like, oh my God, I have to listen to this.
Also,
publicity.
Me saying, what are you, nuts, feels like I'm copywriting somebody or trademarking, whatever it would be. Go listen to the Good Guys podcast if you want to hear a segment called "What Are You Nuts?" But that's why I love that phrase now, and I've been trying my hardest not to say it on this podcast, but now I said it. But my wife got me into this podcast, so I'm watching it, and there I said it. But
cool.
Honestly,
can't wait to be served.
5 stars. That's it.
All right, fine.
Oh,
I'll take a 4.
Oh, wait.
I'll take a 4.
We can't go anywhere. I have to give a shout out before we end this to Amber, who has started following us ever since the Rope Drop Park Hop episode. She reviewed us on like Christmas Eve, by the way. So taking your time out of your day, give us a review, even on Christmas Eve. People are doing this. It's worth the time. She said that Starbucks was a valid pick.
I saw that.
And I think, Amber, you're one of my favorite listeners. I just want to let you know
I was shocked today that you weren't like, a hidden gem for me is grabbing a coffee at Market House. Like, I was waiting for you to say something like that.
First off, Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical. Come on, DCA, my guy.
That's true.
But shout out to Amber. Thank you for vilifying me and giving me a reason to pick Starbucks in an upcoming draft.
I can't wait, because that gives me an upper hand immediately. So thank you, Amber. Christian's absolutely right. Thank you, Amber.
Listen to the pod, rate and review, and of course, like, subscribe on all the socials. Drafting the Magic coming at you again next time.
Let's go.
I'm possibly going to go on a winning streak. I really don't know if I won this episode. We'll see.
That's called a winning streak.
Yeah, but did I win today? I win today?
We don't know. We'll have to find out. Melissa's going to have to come back and tell us. I got to go call Disney Entertainment. Sorry. We'll be right back.